shot! Dishes off to Jones, kicks it out to Aaron Martin, 4 seconds. Oh my goodness! He makes the three!
Are you kidding me, Aaron Martin?
Well, welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. Now, the women's basketball team, they are coming off a huge victory over this past weekend. On Saturday, the ladies faced off against the Cougars of the University of St. Francis, and the Wildcats came into the contest ranked number 5 in the nation. The Cougars ranked number 8 in the nation, setting up a huge top 10 showdown in Lucky Arena. Well, this game would turn out to be an instant classic, if you will, and the Wildcats got off to a start early with Tennille Krebs as she hit the basket there. Katrina Blackman steps back and hits the big three. Wildcats work it inside here too. Erica Isham is once again the Wildcat bench steps up big. Here's Jessica Stewart off the dribble making that basket for the Wildcats. Then Carly Cottrell drives it to the lane, hits the left-handed layup there. Once again, Tennille Krebs right before the half will hit a big basket. There's Erica Isham working her way inside. Now, of course, Akaya Taylor, she was very big for the Wildcats, but Katrina Blackman answers there, ties it up at 43. One of the big threes, the only three of the ball game, or that was actually 2 from Chelsea Winter, but Wildcats start to build a lead here as we wind our way down in the first half. Turnovers really hurt the Cougars there. We see Jess Brown stepping up, hitting the free throw. And there's another turnover right there that really hurt the the Cougars. And then Jessica Brown steals the ball there. And the Wildcats outlast the Cougars 53-50. That was the final score of this ball game. The Lady Wildcats win the top 10 showdown in what was just a crazy basketball game. Tennille Krebs led the way for Indiana Wesleyan with 11 points. Katrina Blackman added 9 points for Indiana Wesleyan University. And with the close win, the Wildcats remain unbeaten in conference play. They're 3-0 in conference, 9-1 overall on the year. Now next, the ladies travel to Kentucky this weekend to take on IU Southeast and Alice Lloyd in the Union College Classic down in Kentucky. And now we welcome in the head women's basketball coach here in the studio, Coach Brooks. Thanks for coming on in. And we kind of said that was a bit of a crazy ball game, and it was. But it's always better, though, when it's a crazy win, I guess.
Yeah, you'd rather have that than the opposite. So, yeah, it was what you would expect out of two teams that have played at a high level all year, and they have some outstanding talent in Akaya Taylor and Brooke Ridley. And I was just really proud of our kids and their perseverance through the whole game.
It kind of seemed to us during the broadcast of that game that both teams, I mean, there was a lot of intensity coming to it. It was a little, it's hard for either team to get in much of a rhythm. It was not much of a flow to the game, but maybe a little bit tense. And I think that kind of showed early on in the game before teams started to loosen up a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, I think the intensity of the game, just the rivalry that this has kind of become between the two programs. I don't know what specifically the stats show, but I think the two of us have been in the championship game of the conference tournament quite a, we're
years.
It's been years since somebody else has snuck in there. So, I think all of that adds up, and then you throw the talent level of both teams into the mix, made for an interesting day.
Well, on the game, in that first half, a little bit back and forth, but then midway through that first half, you guys start to take over, created more turnovers, got some baskets on the other end, built a 12-point lead. You had to feel pretty good at the point of how you guys were playing in that first half.
In the first half, I thought defensively we did some really good things. We were creating some problems for them both on the perimeter and inside, and and that enabled us to get the gap and spread it out. The way we finished the half, we were up 9.
And I thought that basket by Tennille Krebs at the half, I thought that ended up being a big play.
Oh, well,
huge play.
every possession in a game like that matters, and you realize that when you look back at it at the end of the game. But yeah, the way we ended the half, going up 9, going in, we had some momentum, and then the start of the second half is where just the wheels started to go wobbly a little bit, and I really honestly believe it had more to do with us playing not to lose versus playing to win. And because of our mentality that way, we missed some shots that we would normally make, especially layups. We missed 4 or 5 layups, I think, to start the half.
You know, you mentioned the slow start in the second half. And in fact, St. Francis came back, took the lead. You guys, though, finally got your kind of feet underneath there, and it was back and forth game. You finished strong, but how did you feel about maybe your defensive effort all the way through? Because I felt holding St. Francis to 50 points, that was obviously key, because you didn't shoot the ball well, you didn't really rebound well against those guys, but your defense really kept you in the game, especially out in the guard spot.
Yeah, our defense is what, I mean, we turned them over 23 times. That helped alleviate the discrepancy in rebounding, because they out-rebounded us by 18, I believe.
Yeah, 48 to 30.
And, you know, I know 4 of those were team rebounds, but, you know, that's an area where we've got to get better. We work on it almost every day in practice, but, you know, we've got to do a better job not giving kids 2 and 3 opportunities. So
we're going to take a look at some of the highlights for the last minute of this ball game. There you see St. Francis is on top by 1. Tennille, the senior, really stepped up and took the ball and made a very confident shot.
Well, she was the one kid throughout the game. One, she wasn't in foul trouble, so that made it a little more doable for her, because a couple of our kids, Katrina especially, was in foul trouble, and I think that takes away from your aggressiveness. But she was a kid that was fighting hard, and when she would come over to the bench, she was constantly saying, "No, we're playing to win." And you know, I think she had that look in her eye from the very beginning. So,
well, the defense creates some turnovers. Jessica Brown hits some big free throws there, and again, not the bad pressure out on top, and forces another turnover. You'd have loved to seen a couple more free throws to ice the game. Doesn't happen. But probably there's not a whole lot of people you'd like at the line better than Jess Brown. She's an outstanding free throw shooter. But I like the fact that when she missed it, she didn't stand around. She came back and gets the steal.
Yeah, she did a really, you know, I mean, they kind of threw it into her hands, but like you said, she didn't drop her head and jog back. She sprinted back, and she was able to put herself into a position to make a play, and it ended the game. And, you know, there's things there that we, you know, I talked to the kids about it. We're thankful that we won the game, but there are things that we've got to do better. We've got to rebound the basketball better. We really need to be able to make free throws on a more consistent basis, especially in crunch time. And, you know, we're going to have days where we shot the ball. We shot the ball really well at Grace the other night. We've got to get to a point where we're more consistent offensively that way.
All right. Well, Coach, thanks so much for coming on. Congratulations on the big win. 3-0 in conference, so that's really huge going into break.
Yes, it is.
Well, when we come back, we'll talk with the head coach of the men's basketball team, Greg Tonigal, about their perfect record and big victory on the road against the Cougars. So that's coming up next here in Wildcat Week. Welcome back to Wildcat Week. The men's basketball team, they're off to a perfect season, and Saturday they hit the road to take on a very big and tough conference opponent in the Cougars of St. Francis up in Fort Wayne. Now, the Cougars came into the contest ranked number 9 in the nation, so this was, again, another top 10 battle. Now, Lane Mahiran had a big day once again for the Wildcats, getting some baskets back-to-back inside for the sophomore Lane Mahiran. Josh Maywar muscled his way inside for 2 points. Zach Vanderwater with the big day, double digits. That time he hit one of his 3 threes on the day. Mahiran once again working his way inside. There you see another 3 by Zach Vanderwater. There's Lane Mahiran with the left hand. He gets that one to fall. From the perimeter, DJ Bettinger hits the big 3 as the Wildcats begin to build upon their lead. Later on, Johnny Marlin feeds it inside to the freshman Jacob Johnson, who gets the layup to go. Some excellent passing here leads to another basket in the paint for Lane Mahurin. And finally, Josh Maywar, 2 more of his 13 points. A couple baskets back-to-back inside for Josh Maywar. The Wildcats dominate the Cougars by 21 in this ballgame, 79-58. The final score. It's supposed to be a tough game, but the Wildcats run away with it. The men move to 11-0 on the season, as we said, and more importantly, maybe even 3-0 in Crossroads League play. Well, joining me now is the head coach of the men's basketball program, Greg Tonigal. And Coach, thanks for joining us. And maybe right off the bat, when you looked at your schedule, and when you got the conference portion of the schedule, you saw 3 teams off the bat that were all 3 contenders for the conference championship. And so now to come away with a 3-0 record and 2 of those wins coming on the road, that's got to be just a real relief off your shoulders, I would think.
It was overwhelming when that schedule came out, and I looked at it in the summertime and I kind of wanted it to go away. Mm-hmm. And then, as the season approached, everything we were doing was to prepare for those games, especially at Bethel, at St. Francis, 2 difficult road games. So, you can breathe a little sigh of relief, but it's early and there's a lot of conference games to be played. Yeah. So we built a good position, but now we need to grow on that and build upon that. I don't know,
maybe it's so cliche. They always talk about how you can't really win the conference championship in November, December, but you sure can maybe put yourself in a position to lose it if you don't play well. And so, as you said, long ways to go, but at least you put yourself in a position where you're in contention.
Well, if you look at last year at this time, you and I sat here and we're talking about a 1-2 start in conference, but those were 2 losses at home. We lost to Marianne at home and St. Francis at home. But then fast forward and look what happened at the end of the season. So there's a lot of basketball to be played. A lot of things can change. My job as a coach is to make sure we're getting better every single day, and if we do that, this team's got a high ceiling.
The tricky thing now is you kind of put that conference talk and games on the shelf for about a month, and you go back to playing some non-conference games. We move into the break. You'll go on the road. What's the most important thing during these games? Obviously, to get wins, but how do you build towards improving?
You really start to have a sense of who you are as a team. Our identity is really being shaped right now. We have a lineup. We've got our go-to actions on offense. We're starting to understand our strengths on defense. And it's time to build upon that and hopefully extend the bench some. We want to get more guys involved. Like you said, you got 4 out-of-conference games. And so you're playing opponents that don't quite necessarily know you as well. So maybe you can try some new things. And it's also time to have fun. We're going to Puerto Rico. It's going to be a great trip, great weather, a time to spend not only with the team, but a lot of families are coming along. And so that's a big part of our program. And I think our guys are really looking forward to this next season.
As you talked about finding out about yourselves, and some of your strengths are, we know and we've seen a couple things. Lane Mahurin, he has just taken his game to another level inside. He's really playing well on the interior.
Lane's been a beast lately, and I love the way he's playing. He's very decisive, and he's very just strong in attacking downhill. And when Lane does those 2 things, he's a very difficult matchup. I mean, you're talking about a 6'7" kid with length, a lot of strength, and he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And that's the thing I love about this team, is the versatility. I mean, there's been times where Johnny's led us. There's been times where Lane's led us. Bob, DJ, Zach Vandewater's probably been one of the most consistent players we've had. He plays both ends of the floor, and he plays it very well, every single game. And I'm missing guys. I mean, there's 8 or 9 guys that have led this team in 11 games. And so I think that what that says is you can't come into the game with one game plan to stop one guy. You're going to have to guard a lot of different guys, and the versatility has really shown itself.
Well, and you talked about, or led me into my next question, is that the depth in this team. Sometimes you might go into a season thinking you have depth and hoping you do, and it doesn't really materialize. Did you realize, or did you think you would have this kind of performance, really down the line, so deep into the bench?
Well, the expectations were, but you never quite know how that's going to pan out. And, to see it come to fruition this early, I think guys are really understanding their roles this early. A lot of times you're searching for roles right now and trying to convince guys, this is what I need you to do, or this is what I want you to do, and they're not quite sure they're going to buy in. We've got full buy-in right now in what they're doing. And a lot of guys play unheralded roles, like Nate Bubash, for instance. Comes off the bench, plays his heart out, rebounds, hustles, and then does his job. And,
Yeah.
you know, and doesn't get a lot of the glory points, or he doesn't show up in some of the highlights. But, man, the kid works hard and plays a very important role. And there's other guys that do a lot of that also.
One other guy I was just going to ask about coming off the bench, the freshman Jacob Johnson. He's been another guy. He stepped up, had some big minutes for you at different times, and doesn't seem to be playing like a freshman right now.
Not at all. Same thing. You know, he's another example. He's gaining confidence every single game. He's also understanding, you know, what we need him to do. And I think that kid's got a really high ceiling. And you saw that on Saturday, the way he played.
All right. Well, Coach, congratulations once again on the big victory. And best of luck to you guys as you go on the road, and look forward to talking to you guys next year now.
That's true. Didn't think about that.
In January. So thanks for coming on in. Oh, we got to get
We got to do it. We haven't been doing it.
So when we come back, we'll talk with Coach Candace Moats of the women's volleyball program and put a wrap on their season. So don't go away. You're watching Wildcat Week. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. Now, the women's volleyball team is done with their season after traveling to Sioux City, Iowa for the NAIA National Tournament. Now, the Wildcats wrapped up their season in the final match of pool play against the number 18 team in the nation, Jamestown University. The Wildcats were already eliminated from advancing in the tournament, but in this final game against Jamestown, they took the first game 25-22. Jamestown responded in the second set, storming back to tie the game 25-13 in that second set. Now the Wildcats took game number 3 25-19, and then they finished out the match in the fourth set 25-22. Bianca Cifaldi finishing the season with a kill for the Wildcats. They win this match 3-1 and finish the year, to get a load of this, 34-9. So another great season for the Lady Wildcats. Now Remy Buckner and freshman Morgan Miller, they were named to the NAIA All-American Honorable Mention squad, and so those selections came after the season, and congratulations to them. Well, joining me now is the head coach of the Lady Wildcats, the volleyball team, Coach Candace Moats. And Coach, it was really good to see that even though you guys couldn't advance in the tournament, to finish the season out with a win and against a really good opponent, to play well, that's a great way to finish out the season with a big win.
Yeah, that was something of our goal. We kind of knew, that we could get that team, and even in the disappointment of really kind of competing well with Northwestern, kind of another targeted team that we were hoping to get so we could get out of our pool this year. Even on the helm of that disappointment, it was sort of like, we're going to go out there and we're going to keep the pride of our program and keep building towards being able to get a little bit further every year. So that was our goal.
And how big is that? Because this is a very young squad,
Right.
Everything put together. You got a lot of these ladies coming back, so it's a good momentum booster to go into the offseason and prep for next year.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that as well, that, even in your performance at the national tournament, you want to continue to keep that national appearance so that people look at that again and, and I said, hey, we're going to be back here, so let's just keep building on that.
Let's talk a little bit just about getting to the national tournament. Once you got there, you take a look at the pool play, and you've got Missouri Baptist, number 16 in the nation, number 7 in Northwestern. You have to take those guys. You got to beat or try to upset one of those, you think, if you're going to advance. But, very good competition. And I thought you guys really acquitted yourselves very well. You played well.
Yeah, like I said, each year we're kind of trying to build on things. And it's kind of weird. Last year we had a big expectation of trying to get out of our pool and beat Lindsey Wilson, which was a big win for us. But then this year we didn't have as much. But, just to compete the way we did, I feel like we're just maybe a player short of just getting it done. And we didn't really talk about that, but we definitely talked about the fact that this experience is going to take us to that next level.
If we take a look at the season now as a whole and put a wrap on it, 34-9, an outstanding record. Always get 30-plus wins is great. But then in conference play to go 17-1, I know you always want to compete for a conference championship, but I don't know that anyone expected you could put together that kind of a streak in conference in the regular season.
Yeah, it was a surprising year in all ways.
Yeah.
I mean, even at the very beginning in the summer when we were preparing, we thought, okay, this is going to be some talent, definitely to work with and stuff, but we were kind of prepared for building year.
Yeah.
And so, it was definitely a blessing.
Now, it's great to have the conference regular season championship, but if you want to go to the national tournament, you've got to win the conference tournament. You put together, again, you continued that good streak through there, beat Taylor in the conference championship game, and so to claim kind of like the undisputed conference championship, that's a nice little thing to put on the mantle.
Yeah. Always a win against Taylor, I guess, would always be a sweet spot to be able to, get a conference championship there. But I was really proud of the girls for how they finished in the end, and even in their first round. I mean, we had some 2 5-gamers at the end, and good competition, I thought, in both teams, and thought could have competed at the national tournament level for sure. Well,
Coach, again, we just want to say thanks for coming on in. Congratulations on a big season, a great season, and kind of enjoy a little time off, but I'm sure there's a lot more to do in terms of recruiting, getting ready for next year.
Yeah, we gotta get some pieces back and kind of just keep continuing to build where we need to go. So.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming in. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you.
Well, finally, on this final edition of Wildcat Week for this 2014 year, Courtney Handley and Kyle Johnson, they catch up with some IW athletes and they get their views on the Christmas season.
Josh, what did you ask Santa for Christmas this year?
I asked for a puppy. I want a German Shepherd.
Okay, what's the best gift you ever got, though?
A puppy last year, a golden retriever.
What's his name?
Charlie.
A sled. Because although there's not snow yet, there will be, hopefully, because I also asked Santa for that. And then I can use the sled in the snow.
I asked for clothes, because we're poor college students.
I asked for a parka.
Wow. What are you going to use with that?
Here when it's snowy and cold,
What is the best Christmas present you ever got?
Wow. I was always a Legos kid, so any Legos, I was just on top of the world.
Ooh, all right. I'm gonna have to say some nice woolly socks, actually. They're pretty nice. Actually, I'm wearing them right now. Right meow. Look at this. Boom.
Wow, look at that's pink. Wow.
I think of them as like red, but it's okay. I'll just...
They look like a furnace for your feet. Is that true?
Very accurate. Very accurate. Yeah, they're pretty much a furnace on my feet.
Okay, what about worst Christmas present you ever got?
A boy's t-shirt from my grandpa.
I can't think of one.
Okay, that's happy then.
Yeah. Do you have any? I think I got underwear one year.
Yeah.
Like as a 9-year-old.
Oh. Okay.
So no, it wasn't a good present.
No.
It's like socks, the equivalent of socks.
Yeah.
Are you a real tree or a fake tree person?
Definitely a real tree. You gotta chop it down and haul it out, go on the horse and carriage ride out to get it in the snow.
Wow. Have you ever been on a sleigh ride?
Sleigh ride, yep. Definitely have been. Belgian horses are the best.
I've never been. My life seems so inadequate. What's your favorite Christmas song?
Oh, shoot. Oh, Come Emmanuel. I don't know that song.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's just so sentimental and
It has to do with the sleigh ride. Sing some sleigh ride songs, and then it'll be one of those.
Just hear those sleigh bells.
Jingling, ring, ting, tingling too. That's the one. That is it.
Rocking around the Christmas tree. Have a, I don't even know.
Happy holiday, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a nice Merry Christmas, everybody out there?
Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a fantastic holidays.
Merry Christmas!
Well, we certainly want to wish everyone out there a Merry Christmas as well. Well, that's all we have for you this week. If you have any comments or suggestion about our show, we'd like to hear from you. You can write us here at the station, WIW-TV 4201 South Washington Street, Marion, Indiana 46953. Or you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. You can watch past episodes, connect with us online at wiwtv.com. Well, we look forward to being back with you next time. So for all of us here, thanks for watching Wildcat Week.